Hello, welcome to one more piano tutorial here at Octopus Music School. I'm Daniel Rofer, and today I selected one piece from the album For the Young from Robert Schumann. This is the piece number 35, and it's called Mignon. So this is a beautiful piece. It's one of my favorites in this album, and I would like to start talking about the key. So we are in E flat major. Okay, so this piece, I would like to first talk about how to understand the movements and strategies to learn as fast as we can. So I recommend you to start exploring the position first. We start the piece with finger 1 on black key, so that means we already have to start with our hand a little bit more inside, like that. I really suggest you to have a position a little bit more open, like this, because we will have finger 1 on B flat and finger 2 on E flat. And we'll think about this movement too. Wrist rotation. At this point, it's important to talk about the fourth beat, because if you see, we will always have a quarter note, so that quarter note is also an eighth note. But there is a movement here that we can think to make that sound properly. So the movement is basically this. We'll do this. I'm doing without play the notes because I want you to really understand the movement. and it's a continuous movement because it's all legato. And this is another very important thing to pay attention. We will try to do this movement and it has to match with the musical gesture. So our gesture will be based on the musical gesture. So the left hand, it's pretty much giving us the harmony, the root of the chords, and sometimes inverted, many times inverted. So let's see how the first measure sounds, and I will repeat a couple of times and I will explore the movement myself. I think it's also important to pay attention to don't play like this, accenting the offbeats. That's not musical, so avoid this kind of thing. Okay. I explored the movement a little bit. Now it's time to think about the sound. But for that, it's important playing the second measure first. And it's not a problem because it's only the lower note moving and everything else is the same. So let's see how that sounds, because that will give us an idea on how to start. Okay, I think that could be a little bit smoother. Let's see. Better, but I still don't like the first note. So maybe it's better starting with the finger on top of the key and just push down. That was too much. Okay, I like that one better. So I'm just demonstrating how important is to explore the sound, to explore the gestures. For this piece, if you learn the gesture and if you match that with the musical gesture, you already have, a very important step that you already, got it. Now, let's talk about the third measure. So in the third measure, we will have hand position switching here. So I recommend you try to understand that the measures are not connected. So as long as I finish this, my right hand now it's free to just move. Now let's talk about this. See, I'm also using the wrist rotation here. Explore this. We can sing more this one and then bring it down. So let's see how that sounds. Okay, so I will not comment all the measures because pretty much what I just commented in the measure before or in this section before is the same. I will comment measures that have different material. So on measure number 5 is a good example, because in the right hand I have to hold a half note here. So, and if you see, we don't have that support anymore on this note. And because we will be holding these notes, our movements of rotation will be a little bit more limited, but you can still having the intention. So let's see. See, I'm still holding here, but I can move my wrist and my elbow. One more time. Oops. Next measure is the same idea. Then we come to the measure number 7, and this measure is very interesting. So here we have a note from the editor, and I waited until this point to talk about the edition. So this edition, it's from Alfred. I like it. I think it's a good edition. Is accessible, and I think it's very nice that there's many notes here that, for example, measure 7, what we have in this edition, it's a B flat here. But in the first edition, the R.Schumann and other editions, instead of the B flat, we have A flat, and it sounds like this. With the B flat. So I play with the A flat. I follow Clara's Schumann edition. So let's see how that sounds playing the measure before. Okay, so another thing to talk about on this measure is that we have that movement, but then we have now double notes. So I've listened to many recordings, and in this measure, in general, the pianists, they permit a little bit more of interpretation, I would say. So many of the recordings that I've listened to, they slow down. I don't do that much. I like to keep the tempo a little bit more steady, because I like to target the next measure when we have a tension here. So it's a dominant chord for this. So, but it's an interpretation. Now, let's talk about this measure. I like to start finger 1 here. Again, my hand more inside. So here it's important to hold the note. I just did wrong. And then we keep holding the E flat over this A flat. And here, break it down. So this phrase is beautiful. And resolves here. So I will play the measure before and that measure. It's very easy to hold notes that you're not supposed to, so be careful. Um, then we have the very end of this section. So for this, just prepare for the repetition. By the way, in the beginning, I don't play the repetitions just because I don't want the video to be too long. Let's talk about the second section now. So we have this measure 13 with a C minor, and that brings us to that D7. And at the very top of that measure, we have an sforzando. And so when I have a sforzando, I think about bringing or targeting that note. And let's see how that sounds first. So I bring everything to this note. Let's see both measures now. And it's important to bring it down. And we have the same phrase twice, so let's see how it sounds the 4 measures in a row. Nice. Then we have these measures, 2 measures, where we have this kind of intermission here in the right hand, and it's very interesting because we are supposed to hold the pedal, and this is such a polemic, because you know the pianos, they are not the same as when Schumann wrote this, and even there's a lot of difference between pianos and the environment. If you were practicing in your room, or if you're practicing in a concert room. So I would say practice, experiment, and try to be musical and clean. I think what Schumann wanted here is a resonance. Let's see. Okay, let's see one more time. I almost did the news pedal. I don't play like that. The way I do is more. I like this idea of cleaning at the last 8 notes. I would say at the last 3 at least, because it gives this idea or this feeling of really calming down and preparing for the next section. So it requires a lot of experimentation. Let's see how that sounds playing the previous 2 measures. Okay, I like that. So then here we will have I think what I can talk about this measure, the measure number 19, is that it's much easier if you put finger 1 on this second D. Then use finger 4 here to connect to this. Practice this a couple of times. I would say if it's too much putting all the notes at the beginning, experiment with these two first, then do the octave, only this, you can do only this as well, and see that the finger 3 and 4, they'll be already in the key. It's a natural movement. But also it depends the size of your hand. So if you cannot reach, don't worry, you can adapt the fingering, but I want to talk about this now. So let's see the measure number 20. Slow. I like putting finger 1 on this F because that gives me more space to do this. Okay, so this measure, I think it's worth it to practice only right hand here. So coming from F with finger 1, as I just mentioned, I like exploring this movement and then switch to finger 4. So you can practice this. Okay, then I'm using the finger 4 as a pivot, so I can move over finger 4. So again, and when you use the pedal, that it sounds good. Okay, then we have use your wrist here. You play this note, bringing your wrist like this, and take advantage of the movement to do this. And then here, your finger 5 is already there. When you go here, you're bringing your hand inside because you will have to do this. We don't have the octave here, but this, and then the octave. And more, less. Okay, let's see these two measures, 21, 22. Okay, on the left hand here we have this. In this edition they say to do finger 4 on this note C, but honestly I do finger 5 because I will not connect. Let's see how it sounds one more time. I think it's very important practicing measure 21, 22. So then measure 23 and 24, it's very similar to measure number 5 and 6, so I don't have to comment on that. Measure 25, we have this. Again, double notes, you're gonna use the D flat here as your pivot, this. See, while you're playing this, your finger 5 is getting ready for this. And then when I play, I use this movement. See? Let's see how it sounds. Very important putting finger 4 here. So one more time. This, see, when I play first, it just failed. So it's worth to practice a little bit of this, because you will be doing this with finger 2, 4, 5. So it's not very common. This measure is also important, practicing a little bit, measure 27. So, and it's important also to understand how is the movement here in the left hand. We have this, finger 5, finger 4, finger 3, and this one we play finger 2, finger 5 here, 2. Okay, so oh, I'm sorry. So, this, practice this a lot. Now here, next measure, we will have this. And then here, at this edition, they say to do finger 2 and 3. It makes sense because you do A and then you can connect here. But they say to play this with finger 5. So I honestly don't like this movement when after this doing this. So I prefer do this. I still can connect by the higher note, and then I do. And I play this with finger 4, and I use this movement, and it's already bringing me to this. Let's see how it sounds from here, from measure number 27. So I slow it down a lot here, but you can do less. That sounds good too. So it's important to slow down a little bit. It doesn't need to be too much. So that's it. I hope you enjoy this piece. This is a very important album to learn a couple of pieces. I will record more tutorials from this album, and that's it. Enjoy it.